Hello. What's up, everybody? This is a special edition of Pop in Politics. Again, we are talking about the latest in hot topics, news, and entertainment. I'm KJ, along with my amazing co-host. Of course, we have Yana.
Hello.
And back with us today is Chaotic Truth. All right, so you can find him on his YouTube channel at Chaotic Truth Live. He's back with us today. The other ladies couldn't get on this early. Again, we're generally on around 8 p.m. every Wednesday night, or in the evenings between 8 and 9 p.m. But we had to come on early in the day today to respond to this insane video of CNN with Nancy Mace. Congresswoman Nancy Mace was on there, and they just went in on her, these leftist hosts. So I want to get into that. Before we do, guys and girl, do you have any thing to say to the audience before we start? I know Chaotic, I'll give it to you first, as far as you want to share where people can find you.
Yes, I'm at the Chaotic Truth Live, and thank you so much for another invite. What I want to say today is, and I didn't get an opportunity to say it on my show today, I want to give a big shout out to the greatest country on the planet, the United States of America, back-to-back World War champions. If you woke up in America today, man, you should really be blessed, man, to be completely honest with you. And I don't know a lot. I don't know, why I think about that all the time, KJ. So shout out to the United States, shout out to our military, shout out to the police, the firefighters, the construction workers, the first responders, plumbers, the truck drivers, everybody that makes this great experiment go every single day, man. So I was just thinking about that. Sometimes I just want to cry just thinking about how great this country is, KJ. I haven't cried as an adult, but sometimes I want to just think about it sometimes.
That is such a great thing to say, and it
really is.
It's so timely, because we may be on the brink of losing it. We may be on the brink of losing our great nation. Oh, we just had T jump in. T is here with us again. She's on Pop in Politics with us as well. This is a special broadcast. We are generally here at 8 p.m. on Wednesday evenings. We had to come on and bring you this interview on CNN with Nancy Grace. And before I get you guys, I got to get right into it. I got to get right into it. So here we are. Take a look at this. It's insane in interaction on CNN. And then I want you guys to respond. All right, here we go.
And Kamala's.
You almost got it.
I will say Kamala's name any way that I want to.
No, but you mispronounced it. So
I just did, and I'll do it again.
Mispronouncing her name. That's what we're doing to acknowledge her name.
If I purposely mispronounce your name, that would not be appropriate.
Policies.
But when you disrespect Kamala Harris by saying you will call her whatever you want, I know you don't intend it to be that way. That's the history and legacy of white disregard for the humanity of Black people.
So now you're calling me racist.
I didn't say. I just said you weren't a racist.
That is complete.
You don't have to intend racism to accomplish
You are
it.
intending that I
Your
am
disrespect
racist,
of Kamala
and
Harris
that
is part
Why
and parcel of
can't
a disrespect.
It's offensive,
Congresswoman,
and it's
why can't you just?
offensive.
I'm not calling you a racist.
No,
I'm saying you what the practice is
You
racist.
are. You absolutely are.
No, what's disgusting
That is
is your
disgusting.
disrespect of her.
Professor.
This gentleman said,
You know what?
I didn't know her name.
Disgusting
He's
to
trying to
women
do
is
it.
her disrespect of women. She doesn't know what a woman is. And if 25 years ago,
White women don't have the ability to tell Black women who paid the price of blood to make this country what it is, to tell them they're not real women.
25
They
years
care for
ago,
your babies
25 years ago, I became the first woman to graduate from the Citadel, the military college of South Carolina. I fought my way through it.
So pronounce her name right.
Let me
So pronounce her name right.
Kamala Harris. If
Kamala. You said
I will
it's Kamala. You're doing this on purpose, Congresswoman.
That's disrespectful.
You can't expect people to
If a
respect your
man
service
put on
if
a
you don't
skirt and
respect
walked
her.
that stage 25 years ago, she
You're a
would have
white
said
woman
she would have
disrespecting a
taken
Black
that
woman.
achievement away from women.
That's
Dyson, let me get in here
Disgusting.
because I certainly take that, but I'm
And a
wondering.
lot of rich history
I'm
comes
wondering
out of my
about
district in South Carolina that I am
Trump
Say her
deeply
name.
proud of.
With respect.
Trump injecting Vice President Harris's race and then suggesting that she's not actually Black. Why is he doing that? Should he stop?
Well, I mean,
Yes or no?
I didn't.
Oh, let me see.
Or what he said about her race. I am not going to weigh in on her race. As a woman,
He did say it.
Okay, well, as a
definitely
woman,
said it.
I want
She
to weigh
turned black,
in.
he said. He said she was raised Indian. Now she was Indian, all he knew. Now
Well,
she's
she's
turned
a
black.
mixed race. She's a mixed
He
race.
said that to the National Association of Black Journalists.
Right.
He went to, and he said at the same event where he said he'd done more for Black people than any president in history.
I guess here's the thing.
When he was president, wages for women were better than they've been in a long time. Wages for blacks were better
The
than they've
lowest
been in a
Black
long time.
unemployment rate in history
He
happened
did a
under
lot of
Joe
good.
Biden.
He did a lot of good
Let me just finish this
for
to both
people
of you.
from all walks of the
This
country.
doesn't take that much courage, honestly, to just say that was out of bounds.
I don't know what he said. I didn't see
He
the
said
end.
that she
Come on.
turned black. He questioned whether she was really black. I don't think that's that hard to say. That's out of bounds. Can you say that?
I mean, I didn't say it, and I would not
just
say it.
yes.
Is it
Just
wrong?
say yes.
Is it
Just
wrong?
say yes.
I just
Guys,
said
we
it.
Then they connect that to your
are-
inability to
I'm not-
pronounce her name.
we are out
Now
of
it's
time.
It's a very.
We are out of
cult.
time.
It's a cult. They won't say
Relationship.
anything that goes
I'm not in
against
a
the cult.
cult. Are you
Yes, you
kidding
are.
me?
You are a
My
cult
friend,
Are you
member.
kidding
My
me?
friend,
In
we
a
are out
diverse
of
If you won't
community.
speak out against the
time.
cult member, you're a cult.
All right. First, before I get you guys in on this, I have to say, Kamala, Commie Kamala, Cackling Kamala, Giggling, Gagala, Gillinga. I don't give a damn, and I don't care how to pronounce her name. Am I racist? I'm a black woman calling her Kamala, Giggling, Gala, Mama, Gala, Kama. I don't care. This is insane. T, I want to get you on this first. What is this? Is this
I have so many thoughts. As someone who has a full name that's not easy to pronounce, I understand. However, it's not racist. If someone mispronounces my name, I wouldn't say, "Oh, you're a racist because you don't respect my name." Now, I will say there are, sometimes I don't care if you mispronounce my name because you're not that important to me. Someone that's important to me, I'll be like, all right, my name is what my name is. But it's not racist. And then we have these beta men over here arguing with a woman about just going back and forth with a woman about someone else's name. It's a mess. And these people, you talk about a cult. They're the ones that's the cult. And it's crazy.
I want to get you in on this, Yana. I mean, what is this? Is this the America we want to live in?
It's so pathetic and just juvenile. The way that they were arguing like they're in middle school, maybe maximum high school, about things that don't really matter at all. And by the way, the lady did pronounce her name correctly because so her name actually comes from Arabic, and I can read Arabic, and the way that it's spelled in Arabic, it's Kamala. It's very clear. So actually, she's completely right. And he's pronouncing it wrong. Maybe Kamala herself is pronouncing her own name wrong, because traditionally I can spell her name the way it's supposed to be spelled. And so anyway, I'm just saying, it's just so silly that instead of talking about policy, some important issues, they're yelling back and forth. Oh, you're a white woman who is disrespecting a black woman. Say her name right.
Yeah,
So
I want to
silly.
get
It's
you in here,
insane.
chaotic, and exactly what Yana said. He said white women can't tell black women how to say their names. This is you white women disrespecting black women. You can't do that. Chaotic, what's your response to this?
I don't even know where to start. First off, may I ask you if I can use the N-word? Is that possible?
Yeah, use free speech.
I am so tired of cosplaying niggas pretending to be black, being offended by something that they are pretending to be about. Now, Michael Eric Dyson sitting there looking like a whole ass white man, mad at the fact that this beautiful white angel, Congresswoman Mace, has mispronounced Kamala's name. So what? For years, the media has been disrespecting Trump's name. Hell, you even had that silly comedian, Kathy Griffin, holding up a beheaded head of him. Nobody batted an eye. Now he's gonna sit up there pretending to be a whole black man, even though he's not. Pretending that Kamala is black, even though she's not. Getting mad at this woman. All the while, I bet you if you were to ask that nigga, hey nigga, where do you live at? I bet you he don't live around anybody black. I'm talking about real black people in a black neighborhood. I bet if you would ask this nigga, hey nigga, how come you don't work at one of the HBCUs? How come you only work at Princeton and Vanderbilt? The nigga will sit up there and give you every excuse in the book. I'm about to land the plane here. I wake up dreaming about saying nigga sometimes because I'd expose them. Here goes this nigga. I bet if you say, hey nigga, what color is your wife? I bet he'll show some half white or damn near white woman. I'm tired of these.
If he even has a wife, does he have a wife?
Yeah, he has a wife. He's been married 3 times. I'm so tired of these niggas. I don't know what to do up here. These academic race hustlers trying to create a race narrative. Kamala ain't black. Man, mother F her name. And that's all I got to say about it. I'm just going to be honest with you. Forget her name and pronouncing it right.
Yeah. This first of all, this is the America that we are about to come on if Kamala Harris is put into office. Everything will be pushed on race. Everything that we do. White people, if you are watching this is the America we will have to embrace if this woman becomes president. It was so ridiculous that, first of all, the way that these men spoke to Representative Mace was out of line. That's number one. They are so bent on talking about race and race hustling and making this a racial thing. She couldn't even get a word in. She let them speak. And I encourage you all to watch the full exchange. She let them speak, but they overtalked her. They were aggressive with her, and then they tried to make her out as a racist. The whole exchange with Trump. She said she didn't see the video. Right. And I'm happy that she didn't respond to it because all they were doing, why should she respond to something when she doesn't even know if they're telling the truth about what he said? And they weren't. Right.
It's a mob. I mean, it's a mob mentality. When you have this leftist, they operate like rabid animals or aggressive pack of wolves. And this is all that they're doing. They don't care about intellectual conversation. They can't even have an intellectual conversation. If they had their way, they would stone this woman.
Yeah. Exactly.
How can we even, they're trying to say, oh, she's not a DEI hire and she's not this and she's not that. How can we even get away from that conversation of saying whatever her color is to actually see what her policies are? They keep reminding us that she's black. Every moment we get, the first thing we talk about is, they want to talk about is she's black, but don't want to consider her a DEI hire.
And they're bringing up that Trump said something about her being black or not black. She's the one, and people on her side are the ones who are bringing it up all the time.
Right.
We wouldn't even talk about it if it wasn't an issue, if it wasn't them constantly reminding us that we have to look at race. In fact, majority of people do not look at race when they have to make a political decision.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the whole exchange they were talking about was Trump. First of all, they need to thank former President Trump for even showing up, because Kamala didn't show up to the National Association of Black Journalists,
right?
That event. She didn't feel like they were important enough to even show up. And again, she had failed to even speak on anything, answer any questions, do any press conferences, do any interviews since, what were we doing, almost 30 days since she announced. So she doesn't even feel the American people are important enough, smart enough for her to even show up for questioning. But Trump showed up, and the first question that this nasty woman asked him is she is totally throwing herself at him. It was aggressive. It was nasty. The question wasn't even an intelligent question. but this is what they go to on CNN. It's terrible. It's terrible. Before you guys jump in, I do have to acknowledge our super chatter here. Guys, thank you so much. I have Neil Ray says, hello, ladies. I appreciate what you all do. God bless you all. You ladies speak facts. Keep preaching conservative family values. She got no policies. Thank you so much, Neil. We appreciate you. Yeah, absolutely.
And we have to start calling these people out. We have to call them out in their madness immediately when they try to attack us. Because I'm sure it's not just what's the lady's name? Mace.
Congress.
Yeah, it's not just her. It's not just Trump. It's all of us. They try to bring these identity politics in our faces, and we have to try to counter that and just let them know what's facts.
Right. We absolutely do. And speaking of counter it with facts, we got to talk about this woman's her policies. Now, again, she still has not come out with a interview. She has not done interviews. She's done like rallies, but to do a deep dive into her policies and to answer for these policies, she has failed to do it. But we do know how she ran in 2019 when she was running for president, which she didn't get a single vote. She dropped out before she could even get one vote. She was afraid. She dropped out right before the California primary. And she was afraid that her own state would not vote for her in the Democratic primary. This is how unlike Kamala is. This is how unlike she is.
And that's why nobody can pronounce her name, because we don't know her. Who is she?
We don't know her. And but speaking of that, her policies here. So we have here, she would consider allowing death row inmates to vote. She supported the elimination of the private health insurance. Oh, do I have let me see what I have here. 1 second. I have you guys have put up this stream. Is this something we want to play or? Oh, yeah. So yeah, she supported eliminating private health insurance. She promoted a fund to bail out violent protesters during the 2020 riots. She supports abolishing ICE. She was named the most liberal senator in 2019. She has never visited a conflict zone on the border, and she was declared by Biden the border czar. And she said it should not be considered a crime to enter the U.S. illegally. We know that she is for illegal immigration, open borders. We know all of this. And this is why they continue to push us towards race and race baiting, because they don't want to get into her real policies.
Yeah. And, I just realized something about the immigration, her being the immigration czar or whatever. Both of her parents are immigrants. So it only makes sense that she wants open borders. So all of her people, her family members, and her fellow immigrants to come over in an open border. So it just makes sense.
Not necessarily. I mean, Vivek Ramaswamy is also, his parents were immigrants. We had people.
I'm not talking about Vivek. I'm talking about her. I'm sure he doesn't want open borders. My point is that's why she wants open borders.
Everyone who is an immigrant or who has parents who are immigrants want open borders. In fact, a lot of people who did come here legally do not want that, because that's unfair. Why their parents had to struggle to get over here. They had to pass all sorts of tests, and they had to follow the protocol. And so the reason why she wants people over here illegally is because she's a communist.
Yeah.
And that's a communist. Like, she wants to flood this country with illegals. She wants to let convicts out of prisons. And that is what was done in the Soviet Union when the revolution was happening. Lenin actually let people out of prisons in order to use them as lynchmen, basically people who went and robbed others in order to take away property from people who had a little bit more than someone else. And that was an actual policy.
Wow.
And that's what they're hoping will happen here.
Yeah, you're right. And speaking of immigrants here, I mean, in her policies, Senator Marco Rubio compared Kamala Harris to former Cuban President Fidel Castro and former Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez after she announced her plans to implement the first ever federal ban on corporate price gouging in grocery stores in the food industry. I think she did this. She was in Maryland here, I believe it was yesterday or the day before, and she had a big speech. So the policy proposal announced on Wednesday is one of the most progressive economic policies suggested by Harris so far, leading to harsh criticism from Republicans who drew parallels with socialist governments. Kamala wants to bring America the policies of leaders in countries millions of people have fled. Trump echoed Rubio's sentiment in a Thursday press conference, saying Harris was trying to implement communist price controls, which would cause food shortages. He actually compared it to the Soviet Union. He says, like something straight out of Venezuela or the Soviet Union. I want to get your response to that, Yana. I mean, are they being, are they going too far? Are they over exaggerating, or is this true? Is this something that is something similar to Soviet Union?
I mean, once you start controlling prices, absolutely. The Soviet Union was controlling every single price of every item on the market because they needed to have everything equal. The demand didn't matter. So whether people want it or not, the price is going to be the same. So it completely destroys the economy. And who suffers from that are the consumers, because you're not getting what you need in the stores. If something does appear, it disappears very quickly. Also, it definitely hurts business owners. I mean, in the Soviet Union, there were no business owners. The government was the owner of everything. But if they're going to dictate business owners how much something's supposed to cost, they're going to go out of business. All of them will go out of business. And then the government will have to take over those businesses. So it is basically a communist takeover.
And I want to get you, because chaotic, this does sound good to everyday voters. I mean, when she goes on these rallies and things, and she says, we are going to put price controls on the cost of food. We're going to price control the cost of prescription drugs for seniors. It does sound like something people want to vote for. So how do we get a message out there that this isn't something good? This is actually bad for Americans?
Well, again, my take on, believe it or not, I think that there's an understanding of economics that a lot of us probably lack, but we're comparing the Soviet Union to a capitalistic society, and to a degree, there should be regulations in America. First of all, you have exorbitant price increases, right? So that's pretty much the prices of essential goods are increased far beyond their normal market value. So essentially, this can exploit consumers that have no other options, due to the urgency of needs. Also, a lot of price gouging happens during emergencies, right? So price gouging takes place during or immediately after some sort of situation. So one in particular that we all know was C-19, which we can't say the whole thing, which you had a shortage of, you had price gouging then you had the famous baby formula situation where 10%, it was a 10% increase at stores. Mm-hmm. And, I do believe that there's a lot of legal and even ethical concerns behind it, and a lot of jurisdictions, they have laws that prohibit price gouging. So, especially during emergencies, and, it's almost like, again, you're exploiting someone because of some sort of situation. And I believe that the government should step in and say, hey, this gallon of milk was $2 because there was a hurricane. Walgreens, which is damn sure known for price gouging, you can't charge $5 now. You can't charge $7 now because, it'll cause, what if this family needs it? What if this family needs it? There needs to be certain limits on capitalism. I know somebody may say that sounds like communism, but I kind of agree with Kamala on that issue. I kind of support it, to be honest with you. But that's just me, though. But I'm not an economist or someone in what is it, an economist, economics, whatever. But yeah, that's just me though. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let me before I get you guys to respond, I want to acknowledge our super chatters here. Guys, we certainly appreciate you. Neil Ray, again, thank you so much, Neil.
Thanks, Neil.
I find it disgraceful as an Indian man that she uses race to get votes. She don't go to church or temple. I've been in sales for over 14 years, still can't get a job because of her. Price control is communism.
Oh, wow.
I agree, Neil. Oh, we have another super chatter. The Joe Mobley Show. Thank you so much. Says her price control plan is 100% communism, and she's getting roasted for it from both sides. She needs to crack open a history book instead of her legs. Oh, LAPD SWAT. Thank you so much.
LAPD SWAT.
He says soy libs offend easily. Why? Yes, absolutely. Thank you guys so much and rocking with us so early in the day. We are generally on here later in the day, 8 p.m. on Wednesdays. Certainly appreciate you coming in here and chatting with us. I want to get back to the price gouging. So I think we need to kind of break this down because I don't agree with it either. I do believe that it is communism. And one of the reasons is it's government control. So any government imposed price control creates scarcity. It creates, and that's what we had during the scamdemic is what I call it. It's the government creating the scarcity of products, and then it creates a dependence on government. So in actuality, it's the government that actually started this whole inflationary cycle that we have going on right now. So prices are high because the government spends too much money, printing more money to cover shortfalls. And so by printing more money reduces the purchasing power of every dollar. It combats the market and capitalism working like it should. That's my 2 cents on that there. And again, the whole idea of these regulations. So, these constant regulations generally contribute to higher prices. So that's why, we have, as the commenter said, there are people on the left who are actually criticizing this price control policy she has. This is dangerous. This is very dangerous.
I mean, I'm sure there will be more policies that they don't agree with if they actually take a look at her policies.
Right.
Instead of focusing on Project 25 and how racist people are or whatever, if you look at the policies of each candidate, you'll see where the trouble lies.
Right.
Absolutely.
And she has these complete socialist policies. So one of the things you mentioned earlier is the socialized medicine. So she wants to get rid of private insurance and she just wants to create the socialized medicine for everyone. And when people hear it, it just sounds like, okay, why not? And we can still have maybe private doctors that we can go to, and it just seems okay. But actually, when you really realize and when you look at what happens in other countries where they have socialized medicine, whoever pays your bills controls you. So the government will control what you can or cannot do with your body when they're paying for it. So for example, I was just speaking with my friend in Belarus, and they have socialized medicine, and people there, women, teenagers, starting from teenagers, they now have to get an HPV vaccine. And we know here that, first of all, it's not necessary. Right. It's not like a big risk. Second of all, there are horrible side effects that are possible. There are girls that have been completely paralyzed from it. But over there, people cannot refuse that. Wow. So the government, when they're paying for your health care, and it is for the common good, they don't care about, that, whatever 5% or 10% are going to get some kind of side effect. It doesn't matter because, they're paying for everyone's healthcare, and you have to go and get whatever it is that they want to inject in your body.
Wow.
And I think if these people want free healthcare, they can go to these other countries and get free healthcare. They don't have to stay here in America.
Yeah.
Well, we know what free healthcare looks like. I mean, you know, you can go to the VA and see what free healthcare looks like. We got the VA hospital right here in downtown Baltimore.
Yep.
And many times the care that you get at these as a child coming up, I went to free clinics. And, you know, I'm a product of a single mother. And, you know, we went to free clinics, and it's wall to wall people. You know, you go into some place and it's dark, and everybody's sitting around there waiting to see the doctor. You're there for I don't know how long. And the care is not as good.
That's how I grew up. That's what I grew up with socialized care, and the doctors are not getting paid anything. You know, they're just as poor as anybody else. They're angry. They don't have enough medication. I had to get my teeth drilled without Novocaine as a child multiple times. Like, it's like literal torture, because the government controls, you know, what kind of medicine the clinic gets. And when they decide something is not necessary, like pain medicine, like, oh, they can take it, you know, they'll spend money on something else.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah. People don't know what they want, really.
Yeah. And I want to get back to this idea of the race baiting. So, you know, again, we showed that exchange with Representative Nancy Mace on CNN, and just getting drilled by these leftist CNN hosts, trying to say it's racist for her to mispronounce Kamala Harris's name. Yet we see time and time again the leftist pundits, Democrats, they are very racist, and it goes unchecked. No one says a thing, and it's fine. But they try to paint people on the right as being racist. Prime example is Sunny Hostin from The View. I mean, we've talked about these cackling hens time and time again on The View. We actually covered this on the show, this exchange. But if you guys recall, when Nikki Haley was running in the primary, Sunny Hostin was very nasty and made a racist comment about Nikki Haley. And I have the exchange here. Take a look here.
Nikki Haley's gone by Nikki since she was a child. It's documented.
Here we go.
Because the Nikki Haley conversation came up. So Nikki Haley's gone by Nikki since she was a child. It's documented in high school. I wouldn't be shocked that as an Indian woman growing up in South Carolina at that time, she actually did to avoid prejudice. So I just want to be careful about critiquing her for going by the name she's always gone by.
There are some of us that can be chameleons and decide not to embrace our ethnicity so that we can pass.
Sunny, I don't think that's fair. You go by a different name. Yeah, I didn't want to be the one to say it.
Most Americans can't pronounce Asuncion because of the undereducation.
I don't blame her.
But sometimes I would say what Alyssa's saying is that people gravitate to names for different reasons.
So you
have it.
You Sunny Hostin's making fun of Nikki Haley's Indian name, and that the fact that which is common, many Indians who have Nikki Haley's full name, they go by nickname Nikki, and she made fun of her name. What do you guys think of that? This is what they do, and they're
hypocrites. They're hypocrites, and they want to call things out when it's convenient for them. I'm sure the lady's name, half the people that are going to vote for her don't even know how to pronounce her name. So it's nothing that serious about her name. Bump her name, like Kay said earlier, or someone said, bump her name. It's not that serious.
Right. And if you want to talk about the actual the main hypocrisy within these leftist people, Sunny doesn't go by her real name. Her real name is something, Assumption Cummings. Assumption is her first name. I think she's Latin. She's Latina. And she doesn't go by her real name.
Is that her name, Asuncion?
The fact that we're sitting here on a live stream talking about somebody's name who's running for president and not their policies, I just can't imagine it.
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't be what her color is, what her name is. These beta men going back and forth with a woman, arguing with a woman on freaking TV about a name.
Right.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to
get you. They have nothing else to argue about.
Yeah. And that's another thing, chaotic. The way that they were aggressive recently talking to Nancy Mace, the men on the panel. What are your thoughts there? You mentioned about Michael Eric Dyson, but there were a couple others on there just going off on her.
Again, they are all a part of the grift. They make their money discussing race. The biggest asset in the racial market is Black people. And what was that? MSNBC or CNN?
CNN.
Yeah. So basically, you better get with the program if you come up here, even though we invited you. So they invited Congresswoman Mace, and had she said, "Hey, that's a proud Black woman," and pronounce her name right, they would have loved it. Oh wow, we got a conservative woman up here, white, that's along with the program. But because she didn't, they attacked her. And it's typically non-Black people that are leading the forefront of this as well. You know, you will get more people offended at. I've had people try to convince me. I've had white liberal women try to convince me that I was oppressed, and I'm trying to tell them I never grew up in oppression. I grew up with both my parents. All my friends generally had both their parents. I grew up nice. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, and like literally screaming at me, like, you know, that's not true. You're oppressed. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not oppressed. The police don't bother me. This, that, and the other. So you know, these people are going crazy. Hey guys, you ever seen bees go crazy at the end of the summer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're flying around sporadically, this, that, and the other. They know they're gonna die. And I think what's happening is the selling race is almost over. And a lot of these people don't have anything to do. They don't have any other skill set. I mean, what would Michael Eric Dyson do if he couldn't sell your race, if he couldn't be some bum ass underwater basket weaving degree professor?
Right.
Because that's all he does is he's a race teacher. He's a professor of some sort of race studies or whatever. What would he do? Is he going to teach you quantum physics? Because he doesn't have the brain for it. Not to say, and I'm not trying to knock anybody, but a lot of these people don't have anything else to sell. So these people are going crazy. This is like a fire sale, if anybody's familiar with business. And race is at a small price now, but they're just trying to sell as much of it as possible, because a lot of people aren't really focusing. Like, everybody's tired of it's like George Floyd fatigue, where people are getting tired of it, to be honest with you. And eventually nobody's going to care.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And T, you mentioned you had the same thing happen to you recently, how these white liberals try to push oppression on you.
They come here with these stories like, I know how you feel, Black girl. My dad was a drug addict, and he came home and was drinking 5 nights a week, and he would come home and beat my mom. And I'm like, wait a minute. I don't know this story. You can't relate to me, ma'am, because this isn't my story. So please stop it. And we have to remember to stop them in their tracks. No, This isn't my story. I know my dad. My dad was a very healthy man. And I don't know anything about what you're talking about. You cannot relate to me, old white woman.
Yeah, and I hope more people are, especially the Black community, when we get that done to us, I hope people are what do you call it? I hope more people are upset about it and feel insulting. Insulted. Right. I really do, because this is the game plan on the left. They have to categorize everyone put them in a box. Black people are the oppressed. This is where we belong, and they want to keep us there. And they are doing it not only through the talk and this whole the way they speak and all this new jargon that they say, but literally by their policies. They have to keep Black people in an oppressed state through the policies, through the culture. They have to show us, begging and, as sexualized people. They have to do that in order, like some sort of similar what you said, Chaotic, in order to continue the grift. So, and it doesn't work any other way. And this is why on the right, this idea of freedom, it can be hard. I mean, it can be when you look at it, when you're in a state of not depending on government handouts for the most part, because I mean, you will need, there are certain situations where you do need help, but for the most part, when you are doing it on your own, it is tougher.
Mhm.
I say all the time they've done a good job of creating this unrealistic concept of going back to slavery or putting us back on the plantation, that it's working and it's brainwashing these people into thinking, oh, well, if we don't keep in line, if we don't stay doing what we need to do and keep it black, then they're going to put us back on the plantation. And I'm like, that's not even possible.
The
They
thing
keep
is
these
that
people mentally enslaved and it works for them.
they want to put everyone on a plantation. So basically, the left, the communists, they want to control everything. Like I was saying earlier, when they control everything, we're all working for them. So that's what they want. They want a slave state. They want us to work for the state, and then they, throw things at us. Here's some healthcare, here's some food, and they'll say, but you're safe, and you can never die because we'll take care of you. Like that's what, and unfortunately, people gravitate towards this perceived safety because, like KJ, you were saying, being free, it can be scary. And making your own decisions about how, what do you want to do, how you're going to pay for things, the kind of job you're going to get. All these things are difficult, and people want someone else to make decisions for them and give them free stuff.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's as simple as that. And I saw a comment here. I thought somebody said, how can you say they're oppressed, but then they want to be in control? I can't remember what it actually said. I was trying to get back to it to see. But yeah.
How can you say they're trying to be controlled but not oppressed? That makes no sense.
How can you say they're trying to be controlled but not oppressed?
Oh, they're trying to, okay. Because if you're being, okay.
Yeah, I want to make sure we're saying that the left wants power and control, and in order to do that, they're using race, they're using fear to say that we are in a situation, meaning Black Americans are in a situation where if we don't give them power and control, meaning the left, meaning government really, then we will be overtaken by racism. We will never go anywhere. We will never go up. We will never thrive because we live in a racist society, and racism is the boot on our back where we will never be anything. We will never come of anything because of racism. And because of that, then they say you have to lower standards in education, in the workplace, because Black people need that in order to move forward.
And we're saying that's insulting to us because we have the abilities to move forward. We have the abilities to perform just like any other race. So we don't want the handouts.
And what were you going to say, Chaotic?
No, I wanted to go back real quick and ask you a question, KJ, about the price gouging real quick. Oh, yeah. If you were, and you said you had children, if there was some sort of catastrophe that took place in your, city, knock on wood, and you needed to get gas and you drove to the gas station and the attendant said it's $50 a gallon, how would you feel?
I would be upset.
You are aware that price that, at the state level, they regulate price gouging on gas, right?
Well, at the state level and federal. Is that
yeah. So I'm just trying to figure out, because I really want to go back to that topic real quick. Why is it socialism with Kamala's doing it, but we already have regulatory policy and procedure towards everything else?
It's actually socialism whenever anyone's doing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But would you want to pay $50 a gallon?
No, but we keep missing the underlying issue. So it's not that gas station choosing to increase prices based on the idea that they're trying to make some type of profit, because that's just not how generally business works. Because if that's the case, then somebody would go to the gas station down the street to get a cheaper gas. What's happening is that the prices are high because the government is spending too much money. They're printing more money to cover shortfalls. And then by printing more money, it reduces the purchasing power of every dollar. So it's something that they have put in place on businesses, and then it kind of trickles down where businesses have to increase their prices due to the higher price of the commodity
to compete.
There's lots of things that affect prices. So if it's food, it's whatever's happening with the farmers. If they, for example, if what is it, the Environmental Protection Agency, they are having all sorts of restrictions on what can be used, what type of fertilizer can be used and things like that. So then, and I don't necessarily disagree with some of their policies, but the thing is that then the farmer will have to buy something different and spend more money, use different materials, and then it will increase the price on the raw material, and then wherever it gets to, I don't know, the producer and then to the store, everything goes up. So then you cannot then say, well, then you can't raise your prices as a small business owner, because then they still have to buy things at a higher price. So then you have to lower prices everywhere, but it doesn't really work that way. Like, it's just eventually the whole system collapses when the government controls prices. The quality of goods goes down, the quantity of goods goes down, and then you have to ration. Then you need to give people ration tickets, because what happens is that when they realize, oh, there's not enough of something, but the price is cheap, let's say sugar, we don't have enough sugar, then we go, and if it's cheap, I'm going to go and buy half of the store. But you can't do that, then they're going to give you ration tickets. So we've lived through that. Like, I've lived through that, and like when they talk about it like it's a solution, it's not. And I understand that in extreme situations, very extreme situations, like a disaster, war, we might have to do certain things. But just because there's inflation and you're trying to control inflation artificially, it eventually collapses the whole system.
Yeah, and we can see what they're doing right here in Baltimore with the minimum wage. So, they have instituted minimum wage requirements all over the country, in cities such as Baltimore as well, and in Maryland, and states in Maryland like this. And we saw now these businesses, many businesses, small businesses, have closed. Mm-hmm. You see here in McDonald's, they have machines doing most of the work now because they don't want to pay these people these higher wages. And these were price controls, as you can say, the minimum wage controlled by the government. Instead of letting businesses say, okay, I still need to make a profit, do the calculations on how much can I pay someone if I still need to make a profit, within their own business, they have come in to try to control small businesses. And I've seen so many businesses shut down just because of it. So
are you willing to get rid of a federal minimum wage and at the state level? Because if we're going to operate on true capitalism here, we should be able to get rid of the minimum wage then, correct?
I agree. I don't think there should be a minimum wage. I don't think there should be.
Do you think that a company should pay you $1 an hour? Like, let's say a Microsoft, if you or if you're making a fab at a chip manufacturing company, like who makes chips? IBM. I think we're gonna get what's the company over in China or Thailand? Anyway, or Taiwan. What was it? TMC or TCI to Taiwanese manufacturer. They make the chips for every, in our devices. Should they pay a fob worker $1 an hour?
It really depends. It depends. And so some of the things that government does, I can agree with. So, for example, making sure that the workplace is safe. So that's one of the things that we had a problem with in this country and in many countries, where workers were working in very dangerous environments. The fires happened and things like that. So I can see how something like that, the government should check on. When it comes to minimum wage, it's all about competition. So if one company pays a shit wage, then if the workers are good workers, someone else is going to open another company and they will pay a little bit more, and that's where they're going to go. And that's you're going to have better quality product. And if you don't have minimum wage, you won't have unemployment. Pretty much it'll be virtually non-existent, because now if I'm a business owner and I need to have 5 workers to operate well, but I can only afford 2, then 3 people are unemployed. And if I could choose how much I could pay each worker, I can have 5 people employed.
Right.
I think
I was going to ask, okay, so everybody doesn't pay their fair share of taxes, right? Somebody's house catches on fire.
There is no such thing as fair share.
Okay. Well, let's say your house catches on fire. Firefighter comes to your house. Whoa, you didn't pay taxes. You can't. No, hell no. No. We're going to charge you $1,000 right on the spot to turn the fire out. Would you accept that?
That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
No, it does. I'm telling you, it makes perfect sense, because remember, a lot of things in this country.
How would it go from prices to?
Well, just give me a second real quick. This country is a mixed market. It's not a true capitalist society. It's a mixed market. The library is socialism. If you sit back and think
get rid of them. They're all selling.
So you get what I'm saying?
Promoting
a lot of these services.
Yeah,
a lot of our services, if you think about it, are paid in by a group of people. That's socialism to a degree. But if what you're saying is true about about her policy, and mind you, I don't like Kamala at all, but I think that this is really interesting here.
Kamala,
whoever. But I think this is interesting here, right? Because in my opinion, because it's happened to me with Walgreens. Going to Walgreens, something that was $2 yesterday, and it says $2 there. I go to the register, it's $5. I'm like, yo,
when did this happen? When did this happen?
You can look it up right now. Walgreens has been fined dozens of times for this, sued for price gouging. Because again, a lot of people don't pay attention to these things. But yes, Walgreens is the number one culprit. A lot of these pharmacies are the number one culprit in price gouging.
Now we can't even have private pharmacies.
Not even in times of economic duress or some sort of like C-19 event. They just do it just to do it. So a lot of times the government does need to come in and regulate these behaviors of these companies. It's just the truth. I'm telling you.
You mean like bailing them out?
A lot of times. Generally, if you go somewhere and that market's price is way higher than what it should be, then you go somewhere else. Multiple people do this. They go out of business. I've seen it multiple times here in Baltimore. You have local businesses that are so high, especially restaurants or what have you. People stop going if the product is not good, or if you can go somewhere else and get the same thing for cheaper, they wind up going out of business.
And Walgreens, I don't know what's going on with Walgreens, but one of the things that's going on is they're getting robbed in so many neighborhoods.
Yeah,
they're also, I'm sure they have to abide to the minimum wage. They have to pay probably higher rent and higher delivery rates. So I mean, it's not surprising that prices are going up. So I agree that there's certain things that the government can step in sometimes, but they're already controlling so much. And these prices, that's just a symptom of this total control and everything. If we had an opportunity to open a business, to hire however we want to hire, pay what we want to pay, we would have more pharmacies, and then we could compete. So then someone else can open a pharmacy and sell whatever product that costs $5 at Walgreens for $3. And then they will actually get the customers. But we're not able to, as small businesses, we cannot survive.
And again, and I don't want to go too far off the beaten path, because this can be a whole show talking about this, and we should do this. We should have a show on this. Have Tyrone Keys from Finance on to talk about this. But the bottom line is that the federal government is entirely responsible for higher prices right now within this inflationary market. They are entirely responsible. Specifically, the policies of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden over the last 4 years are entirely responsible for this. Their fiscal policy has been detrimental to the United States. And until we fix that, you're not going to be able to fix anything else. This price gouging, they've created the problem, and now they're trying to do something else crazy to try to fix it. It's not going to work. They are doing this just for power and to increase the size of the federal government to gain more control. It's as simple as that. But
but to be honest with you, price gouging, if you just look it up, was higher under George Bush.
Again, this is a whole.
And you know why?
Yeah, and we can definitely have you back on to show
that too, but Hurricane Katrina too.
Yeah, we definitely have you back on to dig deeper into this, and to really see what's going on with this, because it's a very interesting topic. But we've run out of time at this point. Final thoughts, everybody, before we go. Again, you guys, I want to acknowledge. Do we have another super chat, or did I miss somebody? Oh, we do. Okay. Yes. So I wanted to acknowledge Neil Ray. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for another super chat. He says they keep saying they will leave, but don't go.
I don't know how many people told me when if President Trump becomes the last time he becomes the president, I'm leaving. So I had to do a wellness check like a couple of years ago. Like, whatever happened to that? Did y'all go? Did y'all leave? Ain't nobody leaving. I might leave if Kamala does, because I'm not being in a country where a woman is a president. But go ahead.
Jabril Davis, thank you so much. He says only the government can cause inflation. Inflation is an increase in the money supply. Only the government can print money. That's why they assign blame elsewhere. All right, Jabril. All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming on. Again, this was a special broadcast. We generally are not on early, 3:00 in the afternoon here with you guys.
On a Friday.
On a Friday. We had to come on and just talk about this interview on CNN with Nancy Mace. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know every time we do go live. We are on our way to DC. We'll be in DC tonight, guys, praying at the DC jail for the J6ers. 9:00 p.m. We're going to broadcast there a little bit so you guys can just get an idea of what we're doing. Thanks again to our special co-host today, Chaotic Truth. Where can people find you again, Chaotic?
Chaotic Truth Live.
Yes, Chaotic Truth Live on YouTube. Check him out on there. Until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night. Well, good day.